In towns that have been flooded, a heavy rain can bring painful memories of lives lost, property ruined, jobs that vanished because industry shut down. This is the story of people who are prepared. They built a system to keep flood losses down. A rain still brings memories, but not despair. People know the system is there. The harder it rains, the quicker that system will spring into action.
This is Carl Steffen on the lower Loyalsock. I got 2 inches of rain here at my place.
Okay, 2 inches on the lower Loyalsock, right? Okay, we'll take care of it.
A single phone call from an upstream observer to an emergency services center is enough to activate the system.
Unit 161, call the center. Unit 161, call the center. 0925.
Rowan, we've got a call from Carl Steffen. He's got 2 inches of rain on the lower sock. Maybe you better call the rest of the coordinators and find out what's happening. Howard, you can call the Larry's Creek observers if you would and get their readings.
Within minutes, some 2,200 miles of rising streams are brought under round-the-clock surveillance.
Yes, we've got a popular match going on the Loyalsock.
We just had a report from Carl Steffen on some rain out there. He has got 2 inches. If you could get in touch with your people and get back to us.
What happens afterwards depends on the rain. If it stops, this becomes an exercise. But if it continues, this can become a matter of life or death.
So, now we wait. See what's happening.
In some ways, a floodplain is an attractive place to live and work, but a risk is always involved. In 1972, along the Susquehanna River and its tributaries, Tropical Storm Agnes brought flooding that caused billions of dollars in damage. A private industry on the floodplain was among the first to respond, with a comprehensive plan that would reduce its losses. Sprout Waldron is a division of the Koppers Company. It employs more than 1,200 people at its Muncie, Pennsylvania plant. Sprout Waldron's vice president and general manager, Les Murray.
During the 1972 Agnes flood, the water level was about halfway up the windows over the canopy. That's equivalent to about 8 feet of water in our shops and about 6 feet of water in our offices. The out-of-pocket loss was approximately $1 million, with another $1 million in loss of business. We had a little bit of warning at that time, and we took some steps to minimize our losses, but without accurate information, your efforts are almost misguided, and we, in fact, probably would have been just as well off not to do anything. As I remember at the time, most of our workers were very concerned about our ability to stay in business, and during the height of the flood and the cleanup period afterward, the main concern was whether or not they would still have jobs.
It caught us completely by surprise. The river was coming up, but so what? It came up before. Only this time it never stopped.
Mud, debris all over the place.
The stench alone was enough to discourage anybody. Every motor had to be taken off and disassembled. Disaster. Just 3 months that I don't even remember. 3 months right out of my life. Just 12 hours a day. You work till you drop and then come back in the morning and work till you drop and come back in the morning and work till you drop for 3 months. It's something I never want to go through again, that's for sure.
After the 1972 flood, we decided that we couldn't live in a floodplain forever without doing something to minimize our losses. During the flood, we had noticed that there were a number of old timers around that had their own flood warning system, so we decided to develop our own flood warning system and try to predict the height and the time of the crest of any possible flood. We also decided that we would never again make any capital investments of any major size in a floodplain, and we made permanent changes to our plant facilities. But the most important thing is we had a temporary flood warning evacuation system developed where every employee knew exactly what his job would be in the event we decided to evacuate our plant. And those moves alone, I think, minimized our flood losses considerably.
Permanent changes included raising of vital equipment. Wooden flooring was replaced with concrete. New doors were cut in some buildings and equipped with manual backup control. Any new buildings were located on high ground. In a flood emergency, this one becomes the command post of the company's own flood warning system. Sprout Waldron's plant engineer is on the line now to the county center.
Okay, and if any new data comes down, will indicate any significant change the next half hour to an hour, please let us know.
About 26 feet.
Okay, thank you.
This
Bye.
system is now part and parcel of the system organized by Lycoming County.
Flood Warning Center.
It's raining hard now all over the county.
Repeat that.
But how much is falling? And what percentage is reaching the streams as runoff? That data is coming in from a corps of volunteers monitoring each of the 6 major watersheds in the largest county in Pennsylvania. Lycoming County is bigger than Rhode Island. Though the county seat at Williamsport is protected by levees, such protection is not practical for the entire county. With the flood of '72 in mind, the county commissioners authorized development of a county-wide warning system. A full-time employee of the Planning Commission was designated flood warning coordinator. This person is not a flood specialist, but was able to get immediate help from state and federal agencies, such as the National Weather Service. Part of its flood warning mission is to encourage and assist local effort. The head of the Weather Service office near Williamsport is John Murray. Though well equipped to provide forecasts of the river, the Weather Service does not have the resources to monitor each tributary.
So the Weather Service proposes that counties prepare their own self-help programs. And in this respect, we will cooperate to the utmost with the counties to help them set up these programs. In doing this, we will provide not only the technical assistance to select the sites where stream gauges, rain gauges should be placed, but we'll also provide the limited amount of hardware that's necessary, that is rain gauges, staff gauges.
With help and technical assistance from the Weather Service, the Corps of Engineers, the Susquehanna River Basin Commission, federal and state emergency management agencies, and others, Lycoming County's flood coordinator was able to start organizing the system now in the act of coping with what looks like a flood. It's a simple system based on a network of volunteers.
It's a growing branch, 1.95, and there is no staff gauge there.
1.95. Okay.
Hillsgrove, 2 inches of rain, staff gauge 2 feet.
The volunteers, about 50 in all, have been recruited by the flood coordinator from names supplied by local service clubs, industry associations, environmental, and other groups.
Bottom of the sign there. Never expected that much.
Well, that's what we're trying to do now. Is we have a pretty good system for industry and the public and businessmen like yourselves. Will have adequate time to be able to react, say 6, 8 hours ahead of a flood, which gives you time to get your stuff out.
The volunteers collect information about rainfall and stream height. This they must do at least once a day, every day, rain or shine. During bad weather, this procedure may be required every 15 minutes.
When there is an alert, when we have been advised or we know that there's more than an inch of rainfall, we have to start observing the water. When she starts to rise, we come up here and read this gauge. And we read this gauge every hour, on the hour, day or night. And most often the emergencies happen at night, but that doesn't make any difference. You get up here with a flashlight, you walk out on the bridge, you look over here, you look at the gauge. You immediately get in touch with the coordinator, and he gets in touch with the radio center in Williamsport or the Flood Watch Center. And this way, we feel that we're helping ourselves and we're helping people down the creek, and those that are reading the gauges up the creek are helping us.
Bye-bye. Okay.
It's still raining, and the data is pouring in, some of it from adjacent counties.
Let's start taking a look at these indexes here and see what we're going to have.
Raw data, however, is meaningless. The flood warning staff must interpret it to decide if the flood threat is real. Flood specialists at the National Weather Service and elsewhere have developed a simple procedure for calculating the severity, location, and timing of a potential flood. It considers the average rainfall of a watershed as well as the capacity of the ground to absorb water, information derived from tables furnished by the National Weather Service. This procedure makes it possible to determine how severe a flood to expect.
Next reading we came up on
Meanwhile, at Sprout Waldron, engineers are performing the same kind of calculation. To take effective preventive action, the company must know which of its facilities is likely to be flooded, by how much water, and when.
Latest readings up from the river and from the oil side.
This procedure enables engineers to determine the rate of rise of the streams and the river, and to calculate the time and height of the crests. By now, the Flood Warning Center is fully staffed. Some of these workers are county employees. Others are volunteers. It's raining harder now all over the county. Flooding seems likely. Around the floodplain, thousands of families are waiting for official word.
What were the latest figures, Dave? You have them here?
At Sprout Waldron, executives and engineers are already considering evacuation of low-lying plant areas. The company is prepared. The location of all vulnerable machinery and material is listed on a single chart, along with personnel and vehicles needed to move it.
We're going to have to do something in the foundry and the pattern shop. We're going to need at least 2 forklifts. Let's send 3 down.
Wooden pallets enable heavy equipment to be moved by forklift to the trucks waiting to transfer it to higher ground. Lift bars make it easier to load generators onto waiting flatbed trucks. Special fittings enable workers to quickly disconnect hundreds of motors, which have been numbered so they can be put back quickly.
Yep.
At the Flood Warning Center, potential trouble surfaces.
Steve, I haven't heard anything from Chuck Coolidge on Pine Creek, and I've tried to call out there. I can't get through.
Okay, let me go see if I can raise him with the radio people.
It's trouble this system is well prepared to handle.
Hey, I can't get a hold of Chuck Coolidge up in the Slate Run area. I think the phone lines are out. Can you have one of your people get in there?
W3WRX.
Okay, good enough, good.
WB3FNW.
Hey, Howard, this looks like these readings are starting to look pretty heavy now.
By now, the county center has a prediction and is just about ready to recommend that a warning be issued. But first, 2 final checks.
Hello, Sprout Waldron.
Roughly around 2:30, we had...
Steve, we might have minor to moderate flooding in some few areas along Muncie Creek.
Company and the county check their predictions with each other,
National Weather Service.
and both check with the Weather
Steve,
Service.
I'm glad you called. Say, we've got some problems shaping up here, don't
This
we?
flood warning system, in other words,
2 to 3
has
inches,
3 separate components, each of which complements and reinforces the other.
Problems here this afternoon.
It's one system.
I think we better get out with a warning right away, especially on Lycoming and Muncie. What do you think?
The National Weather Service says we're going to get about 2 more inches of rain, and we got some minor heading toward moderate flooding going on Lycoming Creek here.
The decision to issue a warning is made by the county commissioners.
About it. I thought I'd better let you people know.
Okay, now, how much time do you think that we have, Steve?
The Director of Emergency Services coordinates the effort. All emergency agencies in the county have to be alerted. Adjacent counties must be informed. The warning to the public will go out over the emergency broadcasting system.
Activate the EBS. You also will want to get hold of the Red Cross. he's looking at a 4-hour time period until it hits the populated areas here of Lycoming Creek, so that gives us enough time.
3-5, be advised, we have been notified from flood control Lycoming Creek is rising. That you should go to the bridges and check the gauges and notify us of any changes.
Headquarters, okay.
We have received word from county that Lycoming Creek area in the vicinity of Cottage Avenue is starting to flood. We have to go knock on doors and evacuate people.
How many more do we need?
Okay, just a couple more.
K1350, Montgomery Civil Defense Control, 1701.
Yeah, this is Skip at WRAK. Do you have a message?
Hi, Skip. Les Bennett down at the flood warning system. About 10 minutes, we're going to broadcast over the EBS system a flood warning. Will you be ready at that time?
Yeah, I'll notify the other stations right away. We interrupt this program because of a local emergency. Important instructions will follow.
The National Weather Service has issued a warning of moderate flooding effective until 9 p.m. for persons along Lycoming and Muncie Creek in Lycoming County this afternoon.
This is not the flood that came that day. It's the flood of 1972, which occurred with very little warning. Now, the federal and state governments, the private industry, and the county are cooperating to see that there is a warning. Thousands of people are able to take action to protect their property and safeguard their own lives. This situation has lasted 11 hours. Finally, word comes from upcountry of a welcome change in the weather.
Okay, that's good
come
news.
Up some,
Okay, thank you very much, Doug.
About in the moderate level. Yeah.
Rain stopped up at Forksville, Howard.
All right.
The rain has stopped.
That's the wrap up.
But if it were to start again tomorrow, this whole system would be activated once again.
The largest motivation is probably self-preservation. I mean, for years, the nature has flooded this valley, not very often, but when it has, it's done a lot of damage.
It was the only way that we have of knowing whether we're going to be flooded or not. If we're not on our toes, we're going to be in trouble.
And if I'd have known we could have done something like this here, I'd have helped long before this, and I'm glad I can be part of it.
Flood warning is now a permanent function of government in Lycoming County. County Commissioner Dave Castleberry.
The initial cost for setting up the flood warning system in Lycoming County was only about $500. And this has proven itself to us to be a worthwhile investment because in 1 year alone, we feel that there was a saving of about $750,000 to the property owners of Lycoming County. And certainly, we're of the opinion that is reason enough to want to continue this project. We are committed to continuing this project in the future.
In industry, executives are pleased with the proven success of the system. They've saved money.
During the 1972 flood, we incurred out-of-pocket losses in excess of $1 million, and some parts of our plant were out of operation for over 3 months. This is to be compared with the 1975 flood when we incurred losses of about $75,000, and we were literally back in production in about 3 days. Since that time, the Lycoming County flood warning system has been developed that utilizes governmental agencies in addition to the volunteer organization. We expect to have much better information, and I think we can do an even better job.
As long as people live and work on it, a floodplain will involve a risk to life and property. But as long as people pull together to keep watch along the watershed, that risk can be managed.